Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King 3, and today I'm gonna be giving you part 9 of What If Naruto Had the Deadliest Bloodline. Remember to get this one to 100 likes as usual, share this to all of your friends in your social media platform, and also guys, stay in tune for the rest of the What Ifs coming your way over an Anime King and over an Anime King 2. If you're new, yes, you heard that correctly. I indeed have 3 channels, Anime King 2, and Anime King 3, which I post what if on every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support, and yeah, without further ado, what is to begin this new episode? Start the intro. So the last part we left off, we were in the forest of death, as Sakura was currently watching over her 2 teammates that were both unconscious. They had faced off against Orochimaru the Sannin, and he had defeated them and escaped. The man was powerful, no, beyond powerful. They had tried to take him down, but he was not a Sannin for nothing. His strength was ridiculously strong. But they still tried their best, but in the end, they lost. Sakura was worried about Naruto and Sasuke because of the marks on their neck. Orochimaru had bitten the both of them. All she could do now is wait until they woke up, and protect them to her best of her abilities no matter what. So she waited, and waited, until the Sound team arrived. She told them that she would not let them harm Naruto or Sasuke. As they merely laughed, they underestimated Sakura, and that was the wrong thing to do. King thought that she had a chance by placing Sakura under a genjutsu. But Sakura showed her that it wasn't the case as she obliterated Kin with one punch, enhancing her fists to the strongest degree. Kin was knocked away violently as the others took her on. First, she faced off against Zaku, who still underestimated her despite seeing what she did to Kin. She showed him that he should not, as she was able to knock him down before she could deliver a fatal damage that would put him to his knees. Those two interrupted her and hit her with an ear blast that knocked away the explosive tags that blew upon her. She was sent sailing as she hit the wall and fell in and out of consciousness. As Zaku then made his way over, he was pissed off that she had hurt him so much. It was at that moment Shikamaru and the others emerged in bushes where they were hiding and decided to help out Team 7 as Shikamaru captured Zaku in his shadow. But before they could do anything, a malicious chakra flooded the entire area. Unknown to any of them, something strange happened with the mark on Naruto's neck as he fought against a soul fragment in his mind. But Kurama was sure that was the Naruto that he talked to. He was unblinking. He was not saying a single word, and he exploded into pure darkness, and Naruto's mind awoken. As Naruto got to his feet, his hair turned white. The strange pattern on his body that came from the seal ran towards his eyes. His eyes were shining brightly, showing his normal dojutsu, but there was something off, given the fact that he wasn't saying a single word, and when he just vanished. The group watched in utter shock as Shikamaru watched as Naruto annihilated the Sound team. He didn't left none of them alive. He sucked all the blood away from Kin as she fell dead. He tore Zaku and those two to pieces like they were nothing. Sasuke then woke up as his own curse mark was affecting him as well, as he wanted to fight Naruto. The eagerness to fight him was too much. Sakura screamed at him to stop as she managed to snap some sense into Sasuke, but Naruto was still marching towards them. As his eyes looked murderous, Sasuke got to his feet confused as hell, until Sakura was able to snap him out of it. Ino and the others had no idea what the hell just happened, but everything seemed fine now, and they just had to get to the tower. Once they were there, Sasuke told Naruto not to tell anyone about the mark after all. If anyone found out about it, they would probably be taken out of the exam, as Naruto promised that he wouldn't tell anyone until the exam was over. As the Chunin exams finally began, as Kabuto remained in the exam even though he wanted to give up, his master had met him in the forest and told him to watch the boy. So everyone was there and everyone was ready to fight. Meanwhile, Natsu had a rather bad dream that he was on the ground and he was a bloody mess, and the only thing that he saw was his eyes looking back down on him. This was the first time that he was having a dream like that, with him being on the receiving end of getting the crap beaten out of him. He was sure that Naruto was dead after all. There was no way that he could have survived. But in a long while, his interest got piqued, and he decided to make a trip towards Konoha. So yeah guys, those basically last we left off. You guys can switch across the place, check it out for yourself. So this will begin this new episode. We begin this new episode on a tall mountain top in the regions of Kumo. Out in the vast, tall mountains there was a man. As he was just standing there, unflinching, unmoving. Even though the lightning strikes were cackling in the heavens, he was so high up there was a chance he could be electrocuted. But he showed no fear as he spread his arms wide. He had the red mask on his face. It was none other than Natsu. As he looked up in the heavens, "Go on, strike me down if you dare," he said. He was actually begging for it. The smile on his face under his mask, a proof of that. The lightning cackled and danced all around the area, but yet none of the bolts slammed into him. "Pathetic," he said, as he collapsed right on his butt. There was a stone in front of him. A gravestone. He slowly reached up as he placed a hand on the mask, but he did not remove it. He brought down his nails across it, but despite that the mask did not scratch one bit. He slammed his fist into the top of the mountain as he cracked it a bit, before he slowly picked himself up and walked away from the small memorial stone. As he looked down towards all the jagged spikes down below, as he stepped right on the edge, before he released himself, he started to fall, and fall, and fall, and fall. Moments away from his death, his eyes snapped open under his mask. As he twists, his leg muscles got contracted and large, as he slammed both of his foot into the jagged spikes, obliterating them, landing safely from such a deadly drop. As he slowly picked himself up out of the crouch and slowly made his way. Another time perhaps, he said to himself, as he walked off. It did not take him too long to find a nearby village. He slowly reached up and he unhooked the bottom half of the mask that he took off, as he licked his lips, showing two sharp canines. As he moved forward, screams and chaos went off as he indulged himself in the taste of the substance that he lived for, which was blood. Meanwhile, at Konoha, in the Forest of Death, the preliminaries were still going on. Sasuke had refused to tell Kakashi anything, as he told him that they would talk about it after the exam. After all, he had tried to use his chakra to face off against one of Kabuto's teammates, but the mark had tried to spread across his body. But with sheer will and determination, he forced it back, and he was still in it. He won his match, of course, but the Hokage and Anko and Kakashi had noticed the black markings trying to spread across his body. But he wanted to be here to see the rest of the matches go on, and he was fine. Matches after matches went off, most of them were rather boring. Although, that Kumo girl, her name was Akiko, proved quite efficient with lightning. She had faced off against Kiba. With all of his boasts and his loud talk, he didn't stand a chance in hell. Ino had faced off against Sakura, and Sakura completely obliterated Ino. She could not even control Sakura with her mind control jutsu. Seems like she was not as efficient in her own family style of fighting. The only person that had yet to fight in his team was Naruto. And it was pissing him off because Naruto told him that the best would stay for last. The board went through name once again. This time, Naruto saw a name that he didn't recognize. Amado. About damn time, said a voice. As he watches the Raikage's son, finally knowing his name being Amado, jump right off the railing and crash land on his feet. As he straightened himself back up, his opponent was Misume, the final member of Kabuto's team. Throughout all of this, Kabuto was standing there, as he was watching everything quite interestingly. His master told him to observe the two that he had marked, and that is what he intended to do. You're my opponent, huh? Amado said, as he was rather cocky, judging by the way that he looked at Misume like he was nothing. Judging from your attitude, you're rather cocky, said Misume. I'm gonna make you regret that. As Amado scoffed. To think someone as pathetic as you can force me to regret my choice of attitude. That's laughable. Proctor, start the match already. As Hayate looked towards Misume, who gave him a nod. He was ready as well. Alright, begin! Everyone was caught off guard. One moment Amado was there, next moment, a flash of electricity. Misume's face was grabbed as he was picked off the ground with nothing but sheer strength and smash. One hit that vaporized the floor underneath them. Everyone was taken aback. Akeko scoffed. He was just showing off. Misume was twitching in the crater that his body created. He didn't stand a chance. Pathetic, Amado said. As Harrison had a keen eye on that boy, he knew who he was after all. He was a son of the Raikage. Given his father, well, rather brute physique and speed, his son must adapt to it as well. The next match was Yujito versus Choji. The girl looked as calm as usual, as she slowly made her way down there as Akeko told her to do her best even though she knew that she would win. Choji wasn't a big fan of fighting girls. Mostly, he just didn't want to hurt anyone. But he was tempted by Asuma, promising him barbecue afterwards, as he made his way down there. And let's just say he didn't stand a chance. Yujito was ruthless. Begin. The moment the match started, she moved. She did not move as fast as Amado, but Choji was not prepared when a feet slammed into his stomach, knocking all the air out of his lungs. He was sent spiraling as he crashed into the wall violently. Choji fell unconscious instantly, unable to move, as the proctor called the match. As Naruto watched her slowly made her way up, there was something about her that was just so familiar. If you must know, he heard a voice in his head. She's a Jinchuriki, just like you. Is that right? Said Naruto. Yes. Which Biju does she hold? Said Naruto. The fox went quiet for a second. The two-tailed Nibi, he said. She looked like she has more control than me. The fox scoffed. You really think I will let you control me? Like I'm some kind of lapdog, he said. I don't mean it that way, said Naruto. Seems like she and her Biju are friends. And how would you know that, said Kurama. There's just something there, said Naruto. The whole calm demeanor. Looks like she has a relationship with her Biju inside of her. The fox scoffed at that. And what's that supposed to mean, he said. Nothing. I just hope before I release you, before we finish our little deal, you and I can somehow become friends like that. And why would I want to become friends that simple, pathetic human like you? Well, we're both stuck together, said Naruto, so we might as well enjoy the opportunity that we have. The fox scoffed, but he said nothing more. Looks like you're up, dope. As Naruto turned as he saw Sasuke with that smug smirk. Oh, so they're ready for the best, huh? Said Naruto. As Sasuke scoffed at that. Do your best, Naruto, said Sakura. Just try not to lose, said Sasuke. After all, me and Sakura are the past. If you fail, you will be rather pathetic. As Naruto shook his head, his opponent was Kabuto. As Naruto slowly made his way down there. As he made his way towards Kabuto, he smelled something. It smells so familiar to Orochimaru. Why? As he narrowed his eyes at Kabuto, who seemed rather calm, with a smile on his face. Let's have a clean good match, shall we? Kabuto said. As Naruto did not answer him. Are the both of you ready to proc your axe? As he gave a nod. Begin! Sasuke, said Kakashi, as Sasuke turned. What we're going to discuss after the exam is over, tell me, does Naruto have one as well? Judging from the look on Sasuke's face, Kakashi realized that he did. He looked towards Hokage and gave him a nod. Hiruzen's face twisting anger. Orochimaru, he thought to himself. So he marked the both of them. As he glanced towards Anko with a hand towards her neck, she was rubbing the mark. As she looked towards the boy, she had a sense of feeling that he had one as well. As she wondered what the disgusted snake was up to. Why mark the both of them? What exactly did he want? Meanwhile, as Naruto looked towards Kabuto. Kabuto could not see his eyes, but Naruto wasn't moving. Is something wrong, Kabuto asked, because they were not fighting. Do you perhaps know Orochimaru Sanin? Kabuto was taken aback by that question, but he was a spy, a trained spy, so he kept himself calm. But his heart, on the other hand, jumped slightly. Yes, he's a Sanin, correct. A traitor of this village. I know of him. What of it? Are you perhaps working with him? As Kabuto looked towards Naruto with a disbelieving look. That's a rather bold statement, Naruto-kan, he said. You shouldn't be going around accusing people of things like that can get you in trouble. Oh, sorry about that, said Naruto. I'm just merely curious. But that question. What are you curious about, Kabuto asked. Not sure, said Naruto. Sorry, I guess sometimes I just say things that I don't really understand. I'm a kid, can you blame me? I guess not, said Kabuto. So, shall we get down to it then? As Naruto nodded as he stood there. So you know he's lying, said Kurama. Yeah, but I can't exactly prove it, said Naruto. It's just a gut feeling, and the smell. It's like he's been with the snake. Too close to get his smell on him. They must be working together. I'll inform the old man once it's over. But before that, as Naruto cracked his neck, what are you gonna do, said Kurama. That sneak freak got away, with hurting Sasuke and Sakura. I guess I'm gonna take it out on his friend here. And what if he's not? My nose don't lie, said Naruto. Well then, said Kurama as he looked up to the sky. The sky that was now in the mindscape because of Naruto's little transformation. Through the sky he could see Naruto's vision, as he could see what's in front of him. Well then, give me an entertaining show. It's the least you can do. After all, there's not much in here to do. I'll try my best, said Naruto. As Kabuto held up his hand for Naruto to come. And Naruto did. Kabuto blinked in shock when Naruto flashed in front of him. His feet raised high. Kabuto raised his hand. BAM! The feet connected with the hand as Kabuto felt it. His entire body trembled just from a kick. He jumped back quickly as he tossed a kunai towards Naruto. Naruto tilted his body and grabbed the kunai by the handle and threw it back towards Kabuto with intense speed. Kabuto tilted his head as the kunai embedded into the wall. He used that momentum to grab the kunai and pull himself up as Naruto's feet slammed where his head once was. It was then that Naruto flashed hand signs as he took in a deep breath. Fire style. Crimson flames, he said, as he spewed flames up in the air. Seeing them coming, Kabuto quickly activated his chakra scalpels as he sliced right through the flames. As he descended right upon Naruto. As Naruto moved, Kabuto's hand stabbed into the ground. He then flashed towards Naruto and started to slice. As Naruto backtracked and moved back, Sasuke was confused. When he tried to use his chakra to seal, it was messing with him. So how was Naruto using his chakra? He didn't understand. As Naruto jumped away from Kabuto, he heard a voice whisper in his ear as he looked around. But that was a mistake as he was knocked away. As a vicious uppercut slammed into his chin, Kabuto twisted his leg and slammed Naruto through the ear. Naruto Sakura said, as she saw him crash into the wall, rather painfully. "Well, he's done for," said Kankuro. Gar was watching the match rather keenly, as his mother was directing him towards that one. His mother wanted his blood. There was something about him. On the other hand, Amado leaned up against the railing with a bored look on its face. "Nothing really interesting in these crops of Jennings, huh? Guess it was a waste of time to come here for these stupid tuning exams." "Don't be like that," Akiko said. "Yujito, you're having a good time, right?" "Yeah, I guess so," said Yujito. Amado sighed. "She's not gonna tell you how she's actually feeling, but she just did. And she's lying." "She's not lying." "Yujito, are you having a good time?" asked Amado. She sighed as she looked away. "See? Well, it's your fault," Akiko said. "Stop being so abrasive with her." "What the hell did I do?" Amado said. "You're her friend. Start acting like it," as he grumbled to himself. As Akiko made her way towards Yujito, "I know that you've just recently been through a lot, but you can't just let him talk to you any way he feels. Feeling like he's dominant over you. He's gonna take that as the go-ahead to do so." "What's the point?" said Yujito. As Akiko sighed, her friend had really lost her drive to go on ever since that incident. She doesn't even look like she wants to be here. Meanwhile, back down in the arena, as Naruto picked himself up, as he wondered what the hell was that voice. "Was that you?" he said. "What?" said Krama. "Did you say something a moment ago?" "No." Krama says he looked around the mindscape, as he felt something off. "I said, kill him. You know you want to. You're trying to shove the thoughts, the bloodlust in the back of your mind, but you cannot shove it away. You can hear it, can't you? The vein in his neck pulsing with blood. Rich, flourishing blood. You've tasted in the forest of death from that girl, and it was remarkable, wonderful. So why don't you rip his throat out and taste it once again?" "Who are you?" said Naruto to himself. "I am the real you. The real you that know what you want. So stop acting like some pansy-ass sucker and rip his throat out." As Naruto's eyes activated, as he started to huff and puff, the bloodlust that he was pushing away since the exam began was getting too much. All the blood bags that he had were in his fridge, safely sealed away, and he did not bring any with him. Since he drank Kane's blood, he was able to satisfy himself, but now it was becoming too much. As he could feel himself getting hungry, he shook his head. He told himself that he wasn't a monster. He didn't need to survive. It was just something that he partake in every now and then. As Kabuto flashed in front of him, Kabuto slashed across Naruto's chest with his scalpel, slashing the X before knocking Naruto away. As Naruto crashed down to the ground, Naruto's Sakura screamed out. As she didn't know what the hell was going on, he was not fighting back. He was just standing there. "Kakashi, what's wrong with him?" said Sasuke confused. Kakashi did not know either, as Naruto wasn't fighting back. They could not really see much from his eyes because the hair shadowed his eyes. "Huh, seems like he's a fighter, huh?" said Kankuro. "Thought he would have been knocked down by now." As Naruto slowly picked himself up, his hands twitching, his mouth started to drip saliva, as the hunger inside of him was begging to come forward. Kabuto dashed forward. He wasn't going to win the match, he just wanted to see how far he could push Naruto before he unleashed the curse mark. As he swung his hand down towards Naruto, only for his wrist to be grabbed. Kabuto was surprised. He flicked his wrist as he stabbed into the top portion of Naruto's hand, as blood gushed out. Kabuto was mistaken though, as that blood attacked him. He was pierced right in his arm. Kabuto cried out in pain as he jumped back. He looked towards his arm as red veins run through his arm. He felt a burning sensation as Naruto's blood had entered his blood vessels. As Kabuto cried out in pain, gripping his arm as he dropped to one knee, he quickly went through hand sign as he started to gather his chakra in his arm and flared it as much as possible, trying to burn out the blood that just entered his system before it could go any further. Everyone watched as they saw the visible chakra as Kabuto's hand was lit up blue. But he mistakenly took his eyes off Naruto, and he was going to pay for that. Blam! As Naruto's knee slammed right into his nose, shattering it upon contact. Kabuto was taken aback as he was thrown. He crashed on the ground. Before he could pick himself up though, Naruto dropped from the sky coming down towards him. Kabuto did not chance as he rolled out of the way as Naruto's feet impacted the ground. Yujito raised her eyebrow as she looked towards Naruto as she saw saliva leaking from his mouth. What is he? Some kind of animal? She said to herself. Seems that way. A voice replied back to her. A vicious, wild animal, the voice said. As Naruto turned his eyes towards Kabuto. He moved. Kabuto got back up as his arm was at his side limp. Most of his vessels in his arm had exploded from Naruto's blood, tearing through his system. Lucky enough, he was able to burn it out with his chakra. But the points in his arm had been burned out, and he couldn't form any chakra for the moment in that arm. So he tried to block Naruto with his left as he swung his scalpel towards Naruto's skull, forcing the boy to duck as he brought his leg up. But to his surprise, his feet slammed into Naruto's chest, and Naruto did not move. As Naruto gripped his leg and pulled him, Kabuto's face was slammed into the pavement as Naruto tossed him up in the sky with nothing but brute strength. Amado raised an eyebrow. No, that's what I'm talking about, he said, as Naruto disappeared with nothing but speed. As he arrived above Kabuto, he held up his hand as the blood went up his fingers and created a long spear. Everyone was surprised where that came from as he grabbed it and stabbed it through Kabuto's stomach. Kabuto cried out in pain. This was not supposed to happen. As Naruto brought him down, the boom, the spear tearing through the earth. As Kabuto coughed up blood. No, this, as he looked towards the Proctor. Proctor, he couldn't get to say that word though, as Naruto stomped in his throat. As Naruto laughed, a wicked, psychotic laugh, as he slowly reached down, his fangs moving towards Kabuto's neck. A hand placed on his shoulder, stopping him from doing anything. As he looked up, Hayate stepped back when he felt nothing but dread and death from this boy. But he steeled himself. Your opponent is unable to compete. Restrain yourself from going any further or you will be disqualified. As Naruto looked towards Hayate, that vein in his neck, as a cruel smile spread across his lips, as his hand started to pulse with red veins. Hiruzen flashed in front of Hayate as he grabbed Naruto's hand. Hayate didn't know how close he was to death. Everyone was surprised at Hokage. His speed, well, it seemed like it hasn't lessened from his prime, as a man was down there within seconds. Naruto, snap out of it, he said. The match is over. As Naruto looked up towards Hiruzen, his eyes returning back to normal. As he looked down towards his hands, Hiruzen saw the mark on Naruto's neck. Surprisingly, it was not active, so that was all him. As Naruto looked around, the spear in Kabuto's stomach slowly melted into a puddle of blood and run up Naruto's hand and fused into his pores. As Kabuto lay there in pain, the medics quickly rushed over and took Kabuto away. It's over, my boy, Hiruzen said, as he took Naruto and walked away with him. Winner! Naruto Uzumaki Hayate announced. Hiruzen did not take Naruto up, he brought Naruto to a room and sat him down in there. Are you okay? Hiruzen said. Yeah, I'm fine, Jiji, said Naruto. You almost lost yourself out there. We can't have that happening, said Hiruzen. I know, said Naruto. But I'm fine now. There's nothing for it to worry about. I have it under control. Are you sure? Hiruzen said. Because it didn't look that way to me out there. It's just a setback, said Naruto. There's nothing for it to worry about. Here's sigh. Fine. But why didn't you tell me about your interaction with Orochimaru? So you noticed, huh? Yes, and the one in Sasuke as well. We didn't want to be disqualified, knowing that we were injured, well, Mark. So we planned to tell you guys after the tournament. That's reckless, Naruto. Something bad could have happened. You don't know my former student. He's a devious, conniving one. As Hiruzen moved Naruto's shirt to show the mark on his neck, as he had no idea what the hell it was. Just like the one with Uncle, but this one was different. You've been dappering in the art of Fuinjutsu. You have any idea what this is? Hiruzen asks. He was just curious to hear what Naruto has to say. It's a curse mark, said Naruto. I'm not sure the purpose yet, but, for one thing, it activates upon rage. Same for Sasuke in the Forest of Death, and me as well, but I have it under control. You notice that I did not tap into it while I was fighting, correct? But if that was not the mark, then that was all you, Naruto. Yeah, said Naruto. Time skip. As Naruto sat in his private training ground, his eyes were closed. It has been 4 days since the preliminaries, where he had won, where he had almost lost himself into the bloodlust once again. But he was alright now. Yes, he was fine. Sasuke's mark had been sealed, but the mark on his neck was different. Kakashi had tried to place a counter-reaction mark over it to keep it under check, but it absorbed it. It literally absorbed it. Even Jiraiya tried, but they could not seal it away. But they realized that it was not affecting Naruto. So they just had to keep it like that for the moment until they find a solution, because none of them knew what to do. As Naruto was unsure why his body was reacting this way, Sasuke's mark got sealed away rather easily, but it won't get sealed away. As he sighed in his training ground. Everything here was peaceful. At least he could clear his mind and keep himself calm. Sasuke was off training with Kakashi. Kurenai was training soccer, and Kakashi had agreed to his agreement with him being trained by Jiraiya because of his newfound skill in arts. Their excuse is rather stupid. So what if he wasn't learning sealing arts? What would he come up with, Naruto thought to himself. It seems that the man just wanted to get a chance to train a student's son. After all, he was the one that trained his father. But up to this point, all of them refused to tell him a single thing. He was just waiting to see how long it will take them to realize that he knew. Perhaps they already know that he knew, but they weren't saying anything about it. Hiruzen had told him to drop by the hot spring, and he would meet his teacher there. He was sure that where the man was, but he had more important things to do, like focusing on his blood techniques. Jiraiya could not help him with that. He didn't see what the Sannin could teach him actually. In order of upping his speed and strength. Yes, but what else? His blood techniques were special, and Jiraiya didn't know anything about it, so there wasn't much that the man could teach him there. As Naruto's blue eyes were showing brightly because his hair was tied back, he got up as he slowly moved towards the box. As he opened it, he reached in, only for his hand to be nicked on the scroll that was inside, and his blood dropped right on it. The next thing Naruto knew, the scroll started to glow. He pulled it out. Seems like it was time. As he placed the giant scroll on the ground, as he unfurled it, he didn't know what kind of summons this was. There was no indication of what kind of animal it was. But it seems like it was time. As he unfurled and looked inside, there was not a single name on it. He thought Natsu would still have his summons, but seems like something went wrong. He wasn't so sure. He looked toward his bleeding finger, and he wrote his name in blood. After all, that was the way, right? He had spoken to the old man about it. The moment he finished and pulsed his chakra a bit with it, he was poofed away. Naruto blinked as he found himself in a dark cave. He looked around confused. What the hell just happened? The place was pitch black. He heard water dropping in drips over to his side. He didn't know where he was as he slowly picked himself up. His eyes activated as he saw in the darkness. He was in some sort of a cave. A really large cave. Ah. And who do we have here? He snapped his head around and he heard the voice. But he didn't see anyone. What the hell? As he spoke, I was brought here by the summoning scroll. What are you? He said. Brought here by a summoning scroll. So you're supposed to be our next summoner. Is this a joke? The voice said. I mean, you don't look like you're strong enough. I suppose that we have to test that, don't we? His ears picked up sound as he twists. Something ripped past his side. As Naruto looked down, he was not wearing his armor. To his surprise, his whole stomach had been torn. As he gripped his stomach as blood started to leak, he dropped to one knee. What the hell just hit him? He then heard it. Something flapping. The next thing he knew, a force of like 100 creatures slamming to him at once. All of them biting into his skin. Naruto bit back a scream as he dropped down to his hands. That's enough. Remove yourself from him, a voice said, as he heard the flapping once again. As Naruto collapsed face first, as his breath started to get labored, his hands and knees felt weak. He could feel the Kyuubi trying to heal him rather quickly. He forced himself up. As he looked around, he couldn't see a damn thing anymore. It seemed that the place got even darker. As he looked around, his eyes activated. It seems like he was surrounded by... what the hell? It was then that he came face to face with something hot. It was like a creature was breathing directly in his face. As he then saw two slitted eyes looking down at him. As Naruto stepped back as he fell right on his butt. What the hell are you? He then watched as a thing, whatever it was, opened its wings that had held him the entire time. That is why the place became so dark all of a sudden. You somehow survived the young one's bite. You're the second person to do so. The others that have made their way up here in these tall mountains died instantly. But our first summoner ended up betraying us in the end. So we cut him loose. So we don't want to make that same mistake again. So we rather rip you to pieces than give you a chance. So you rather kill me than hear me out, said Naruto. Exactly. What makes you so special for us to allow you to be our summoner? Well, to tell you the truth, I don't give a damn about being your summoner. But for one thing though, as Naruto's eyes pulse, the ground shake under his feet as he released his chakra. I'm not gonna die here. Commendable. Even in the face of sure death, you still stand triumphantly. It seems like he's quite something, huh, brother, said a voice. As Naruto snapped his head over to the side, he saw fur. Black fur. He could not see the head of the creature, as he did not understand why. The thing then released a screeching sound as Naruto grabbed his ears. It then stopped. He really is something, brother. Maybe we should allow him to be our next summoner. I mean, it's been a long time, brother. And this one is different. Was it not so, said Naruto, as the first thing in front of him growled a bit. So you know of him. You and him have those same eyes, full with such rage, bloodlust, hunger. What is he to you? I guess we're from the same clan, said Naruto, but nothing more. And not to mention I also want him dead. Is that so? Well then, I see that we have a sheer common interest. We too want him dead. The moment they said that, they backed off. As Naruto realized that the place started to gain some more light, but not enough for a normal person to see, but because of his eyes, he could see quite clearly. He then came face to face with the large creatures. They were bats. What the hell? They were bats. Winged creatures. They had red eyes, with black slits in them. Long wings. And they were large. About the size of a two-story building in Konoha. Yes, incredibly large. Well then, young one, how about we let you meet our leader? As the bat in front of him said that, Naruto felt the place rumbling. He then started to see more light than usual. He then realized, what the hell? Said Naruto. Time skip. 3 days later, Jiraiya found Naruto in the personal training ground of the Hokage. As Naruto was just lying down, looking up at the sky. You found me again, huh? Said Naruto. It's like you're looking for me. I know that you know by now that I'm your trainer. For the month time. And you've been dodging me, said Jiraiya. Why is that? Who said I've been dodging you? Said Naruto. I've just been busy. You know you're a rather cocky one, huh? Said Jiraiya. I mean, passing up the opportunity to be trained by a Sanin. Huh. You know what? Perhaps you're not even worth my training, Jiraiya said. I mean, you know how much people would kill to be trained by me? Is that so? Said Naruto. And what exactly is special about you? What? Said Jiraiya. I don't mean to offend you or anything, said Naruto. But I don't see what's so special about you. Yes, you've been around for a long time, so you're stronger. But what do you have that is enticing for me to want your training? And by now I'm sure that you know that I'm not exactly normal. And you can't help me regarding my bloodline. So what else can you give me? Well, I can help you with your Fuinjutsu. I have a book that tells me all about it. Well, I have the experience, Jiraiya said. You can't just read and learn everything on your own. You might end up dying as well because Fuinjutsu is a rather complex art. Yeah, don't remind me, said Naruto. I almost got ripped in half. What? Jiraiya said. Yeah, try not to seal. Lucky for me I had the fox inside of me, right? Yeah, lucky for you, said Jiraiya. That's why. You need my help. And not do something as dangerous as that again. Yeah, but other than that, what else can you teach me? Said Naruto. Well, there is something, Jiraiya said, as he held out his hand. As Naruto watched a ball of chakra form in his palm. The Rasengan. You know of this, said Jiraiya. I did my research. I mean, I know that you were the trainer of the 4th Hokage after all. He was your student, so you copy his jutsu. Well, yeah, said Jiraiya. But if you know about this, that means you did your research about the 4th as well. Yes, I did. So you heard about his exploits, and how powerful the Rasengan is. So that's something I can teach you then. Is that so? Said Naruto. Tell me something. Do you know why out of everyone else the 4th Hokage seal a fox inside of me? I'm not entirely sure, said Jiraiya. But he must have believed that you can somehow master the power and control it. How would he know that? He doesn't even know me, said Naruto. Yes, I suppose you're right about that. You people really think I'm that stupid, huh? Said Naruto. What are you talking about? Said Jiraiya. How long are you gonna play this charade? And acting like the 4th Hokage is not my father, said Naruto. Jiraiya narrowed his eyes. As Naruto shook his head in disappointment. I mean, how obvious can you be? Think about it. There was only one Uzumaki in Konoha, and her name was Kushina Uzumaki. I did the research. And the old man said to himself my mother was a Uzumaki from the Uzumaki clan. So who else was supposed to be my mother? And not to mention, when people are married, they usually place their names beside each other on the memorial stone. And there is a 4th Hokage's name in big, plain bold letters, and beside his name is Kushina Uzumaki, the woman that he was married to. And not to mention I said I did my research. The Red Hot Habanero and Yellow Flash. doing countless of missions together. There must have been some spark there. After all, spending so much time with someone, you must find something interesting about them. Am I right? Said Naruto. As Jiraiya did not say anything, he just looked at the boy. As Naruto sighed, and not to mention the resemblance, without these whiskers, I'm a ringer for the 4th Hokage, and yet you people really want me to believe that I'm not his son. Naruto, said Jiraiya, before you say anything, answer me this question. You were really close to him, like a father. After all, the 4th Hokage's mother and father died in the Second Shinobi War. So tell me, he never mentioned to you about me or something like that? I mean, that must be the case, given the fact that I've never seen you my entire life before, and now you just show up and want to train me all of a sudden. The facts aren't adding up. Perhaps he even asked you to be my godfather or something like that. Is that right? As Naruto heard, the skip of his heart. So I am right. So you're my godfather, huh? As Naruto laughed. His laughing was unsettling because you could not see his eyes. Just his menacing laugh. As Jiraiya sat down as he looked rather defeated. We were going to tell you. Once you were able to protect yourself. You have to understand your father had a lot of enemies. A lot. And if they ever found out that you were his son, even now to this day they will try to kill you for what he did to the many people in the past. If you did your research, you knew that he took down at least 1,000 shinobis within minutes. In the 3rd Great Shinobi War, all of those shinobis were from the Hidden Stone. And if they ever found out that you were alive, they would come after you and try their best to kill you by hurting him even though he's dead. So that is the reason. That is the reason why you're not told. I know you must be angry. Angry? Not really, said Naruto. Jiraiya was confused. I'm not angry. You see, I stopped caring about something like that a long time ago. Jiraiya was not sure how to respond to that. Do you know that people used to glare at me and look at me with nothing but hate and contempt? But you see, after a while, I just blended in the background. And after that, they forgot about me. And I became like a literal ghost. Walking past them so sadly, they didn't even notice. I was like a ghost, moving around. No one noticed me anywhere. And I hated it. I was alone. The only people I had was the old man. And the Ichiraku family. Other than that, I had no one else. Other than making my first 2 friends, which were Sakura and Sasuke, I didn't have any friends my age growing up. I was like a ghost. I was just there, existing. People didn't even notice me. I must say it was hard. Really, really hard, said Naruto. So, at one point I just stopped caring about family and all that thing. Because I realized I would never have it. So you say I'm angry, but in actuality, I'm not. I could whine and bitch about being alone for all my life, but it won't change the past. That doesn't mean that I, well, see you as my godfather though. After all, you did abandon me. So all I see you is as a man that left me to suffer, said Naruto as he got to his feet. So you can see the reason why I've not been trying so hard to get training from you. While I'm not angry, I'm not pleased either. So yeah, that's pretty much it, said Naruto. Jiraiya felt his heart strings twitch at that one. He messed up. He had been so broken after Minato and Kushina's death. He neglected the boy, and now... I'm sorry, said Jiraiya. I know that doesn't mean much. But I'm here now. And I want to be there for you, as your godfather. I'll be there to help you train, and do all I can to make it up to you. Well, said Naruto as he smiled. Who am I to pass up training from a legendary Sanin? I must be stupid, huh? Well then, so how about you teach me that Rasengan? Jiraiya was confused at the change of attitude. No, this wasn't normal. This was not normal at all. After all that he just said, it was impossible for him To just change like that so quickly, it made no sense. Oh, you're wondering what's up now? As I said, I'm not angry. And I don't care about you either. Yeah, harsh. But you're a Sanin and you're strong. So I might as well get some training. As Jiraiya looked down in sadness. Hearing that the kid did not care about him one bit, it was gonna be hard for him to build a road between them. So he could probably become the godfather that he never had. So, how about it, said Naruto. How about you teach me that Rasengan? Alright, said Jiraiya as he put on a fake smile. But it isn't going to be easy, he said. Oh, you don't have to worry about that, said Naruto. I'm quite determined. As Jiraiya watches the boy smile back, he knew that smile was fake. He would have to talk to Hiruzen about this, and they would have to sit him down and talk to him properly, because he was withholding his feelings. Doing something like that was not good, because when the day come and that person break, especially for someone like Naruto, who couldn't control himself already, it will be bad. No worse than bad. It will be chaotic. But guys, if you end episode right here, if you want to see next parts, then do like, subscribe, comment down below, turn on that bell notification to stay posted. Remember to share this with all of your friends and social media platform. But I'm all for now. See you guys soon. Peace.